In the forgotten corners of ancient history, there exists a story so powerful, so unnerving, that even modern scholars struggle to explain it. A story of a king who ruled not just humans, but creatures made of smokeless fire. Creatures feared by every nation. Creatures that no other human being in history ever controlled. This is the story of Hazrat Suleiman A.S., a king whose authority reached the heavens and the earth, a ruler whose army contained men, birds, and jinn, a man blessed with a dominion no empire has ever matched, and a secret system of jinn control that the world still struggles to understand. But before we talk about the ring, the throne, the winds, and the armies, we must begin with the moment it all started. Suleiman A.S. was not born a king. He was born a seeker of knowledge, a seeker of wisdom, a seeker of truth. From a young age, he asked questions no one else dared to ask. Why do jinn fear certain words? Why do animals understand patterns humans ignore? Why does the wind whisper messages that only the wise can hear? And as he grew, so did his gift. One day, he made a dua that would change the world forever. Ya Allah, grant me a kingdom that will belong to no one after me. And Allah accepted. From that moment, the world witnessed a transformation so extraordinary that even today historians call his empire impossible. Under his command, armies marched without fear, birds flew as scouts over enemy lands, the wind carried him across continents in moments, and beneath the earth, jinn worked day and night, building wonders that still confuse archaeologists. Massive structures carved from mountains, towers built from stones no man today can lift, palaces that shimmered like living glass, technology that seemed centuries ahead of its time. But this power didn't come from magic. It came from obedience, from the divine permission of Allah, and from the system Suleiman A.S. established. A system to manage, command, and discipline jinn like no other force in history. The jinn feared him, not because he was cruel, but because he could see through their lies. Nothing could deceive him. No trick could hide from his sight. He knew their languages. He knew their weaknesses. He understood their nature. And with the permission of Allah, he bound them with rules. Rules stronger than iron. If they disobeyed, they were chained. If they lied, they were punished. If they harmed humans, they were imprisoned beneath the earth in places no sunlight has touched for thousands of years. This was the Jinn Control System, a system built on absolute justice, a system enforced by angels, a system feared even in the world of the unseen. And at the center of this system was the ring, a ring that bore the name of Allah, a ring that glowed when jinn lied and darkened when danger approached, a ring that no king before him or after him ever possessed. With this ring, Suleiman A.S. commanded the jinn. Some built his palaces, some dived into the deepest oceans to bring treasures unknown to mankind. Others shaped mountains, some formed armies that patrolled the deserts, and others were forced into labor, building monuments whose ruins still confuse modern experts. But with such power came unimaginable threats. Dark jinn plotted against him. Sorcerers tried to steal his secrets, and entire tribes feared his dominance over the unseen world. Yet none succeeded, because everything he had was a gift from Allah, and no creation can overpower the decree of its creator. But then something happened, something that revealed the true nature of his power. The Quran tells us that during the final years of his life, Suleiman A.S. would stand over the jinn as they worked. He watched them to ensure justice, to ensure discipline. One day he stood with his staff in hand as workers carved enormous structures beneath him, and suddenly his soul left his body. He didn't fall, he didn't collapse. He remained standing, leaning on his staff, silent, motionless. Days passed. Weeks passed. The jinn continued working, terrified of disobeying him. They thought he was alive, watching them, judging them. But he was gone. It was only when a small creature, a termite, slowly chewed through the base of his staff that his body finally fell to the ground. In that moment, the jinn realized the truth. They do not know the unseen. They do not know death. They do not know what humans cannot see. And with that, Allah proved to the world that the jinn, feared for thousands of years, were not all-powerful, not divine, not unbeatable. They were servants, servants under the command of a prophet, under the command of Allah. But here lies the mystery people rarely speak about. What happened to the ring? What happened to the throne? What happened to the jinn who served him? Some reports say the ring vanished. Others claim it was taken by angels. Some ancient writings suggest the jinn built a hidden chamber where his secrets were sealed forever. And the jinn themselves? Some remained imprisoned in the deep caverns he created. Others scattered to the far corners of the world. Some still fear his name. Others still whisper about his rule, a rule that lasted long after his death. And today, when strange structures are found in deserts, when unexplained ruins appear in jungles, when people hear whispers in abandoned places, many believe that the echoes of Suleiman's era still remain. But the greatest lesson in his story is not the ring, not the jinn, not the empire. It is the reminder that all power belongs to Allah. Even the greatest king in history could not escape death. Even the mightiest jinn could not escape obedience. And even today, the unseen world still trembles at the memory of the man who ruled it with justice. Hazrat Suleiman A.S., the king who commanded jinn, the king who tamed the winds, the king whose empire touched the heavens, a king whose story remains one of the greatest mysteries in the history of mankind.